The West Virginia Mountaineers head on the road this weekend to Stillwater, Oklahoma to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I'm joined by one half of the Raspy Voice Kids, Brandon Phoenix, to talk about that game and West Virginia's season overall so far. Brandon, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thanks for having me. I like to be back in the MOV. Love being home in Parkersburg. It's a real nice, good time.
Absolutely. It's been a little bit since we gotten you in here, since I believe before the backyard brawl. So it's nice to get you back in here and hear your thoughts on how the season has kind of unfolded so far. So I want to start there. First game right now this week on the road in the Big 12. They won 2 weeks ago after a bye week. Great comeback win against Kansas, but going on the road against a very good Oklahoma State team. What are your thoughts heading into the game?
Well, I think it was nice to get a win against Kansas. We really needed that win going, getting into conference play. A lot of people called it a big win. I wouldn't call it a big win because Kansas is not very good. They're now 1-4. Lance Leopold had to put out a message like his kids are being held hostage to tell the fans of Kansas University that things are not as bleak as they seem. So I don't think that's a huge win, but it was an important win. It mattered for West Virginia to be 1-0 in the Big 12 at the top of the standings with a competitive conference. And here we go playing against Oklahoma State. Now, the truth is Oklahoma State is not a very good football team.
They aren't as good as what we thought they were.
They're not very good. Their quarterbacks has not been good at all. Rangel wasn't good. Bowman's not been good. They turn the ball over. They're not precise. And their defense isn't very good. They're giving up 5-point yards per carry on the ground. They're giving up over almost 30 points per game. They're just not very good defensively either. I don't think they're a good football team.
Absolutely, and I think this is definitely a very winnable game on the road for the Mountaineers. If they show the heart and grit that they showed to come back against Kansas, they bring that mantra on the road. I think it's something that can help them potentially get the job done.
And that's what's interesting. Oklahoma State's not very good, and they're favored. The line started out, they were favored by 8 points, which is interesting because what does Vegas know that we don't know? And I'll tell you one of the things they know. One of the things they know is that this game is in Stillwater, or Stoolwater, as the University of Oklahoma would have you, or Oklahoma University would have you call it. The other thing they know is that Mike Gundy does not lose 3 games in a row. It's only happened once in his career at Oklahoma State. One time in his career has he lost 3 games in a row, except for, in mid-season, I should say. He's done it 2 other times at the end of the season, losing 2 games and then the bowl game. But he doesn't lose 3 in a row mid-season in conference. It just doesn't happen. It's going to be a tough task because Mike Gundy knows how to win football games in the Big 12 Conference, and he knows how to beat the Mountaineers. Neil Brown, on the other hand, has not done so great after bye weeks. You might think a bye week is an advantage, but it hasn't been. So it's going to be interesting to see how the chips fall. It's a winnable game. Vegas doesn't think we have a shot at winning it. I think we do.
And so if you think, can I ask for maybe a score prediction, maybe some X factors as well for the viewers at home if they're watching this weekend?
I think West Virginia wins.
Okay.
I picked them to win against Pitt. I was wrong. I picked them to lose against Kansas. I was wrong. They lost the game the way they won a game and vice versa. But I think they win. I'm going to say they win 27-17. I don't think Oklahoma State has enough firepower. And I think West Virginia figured some things out towards the end of the game. I think they're going to go up-tempo a little bit more, which is better for Garrett Green. Less thinking, more playing. I really think that Jaheim White is ready for a breakout game. So we'll see what happens. But I think West Virginia has a good chance. And if you're asking me right now, I'm going to say 27-17, the Mountaineers win.
I absolutely love that prediction, Brandon. Now, I want to jump to the next week because they will be back at home, I believe. Maybe it's on the road again, but they'll be playing Iowa State. And some of our viewers, they might not be aware, the Mountaineers will be wearing some cool new uniforms for that game. So could you just share with us a little bit more about it?
Coal Rush. It's been coming for a long time. A lot of people have been talking about these uniforms. They wanted all-black uniforms to honor the history of the state of West Virginia, which is rooted in coal mining for a lot of people. Now, of course, coal mining does not matter as much as it used to the state of West Virginia. But as far as history, as far as heritage, this matters. Ren Baker heard, Ren Baker delivered. People are excited. The fans will be wearing all black, except for those who are loyal to the old gold and blue and just won't do anything but school colors. I like it. I think it's exciting. I think anytime you can do something that gets the crowd excited, gets the players excited, it's a win. But what would be even better is if we could beat Iowa State. When Iowa State debuted their black uniforms, that was against Will Greer and company. West Virginia coming in highly ranked, and they left disappointed. Hopefully we could do the same thing to Iowa State that they did to us a few years ago. But we'll see. The Coal Rush, it's going to be a great time in Morgantown.
Absolutely. I think it's a great homage to the people here in West Virginia and doing a little bit paying respects to them, coal mines and stuff. Obviously, that's been a big part of history here in West Virginia and the culture here. So I think it's going to be a fantastic idea for the Iowa State game. And like you said, I think it could be a game that they go pull the upset off too.
I hope so.
I think this week's game, though, is going to be very telling, and that's what I want to ask you next. Do you think this week's game is really kind of the moment where we really learn if West Virginia is going to be a contender maybe this year versus a pretender, or do you think this is... What do you think of this game? How does it, bring it to the next level?
Let's be honest. What can you learn when you play a bad football team?
Mm-hmm.
You can beat them like they deserve to be beaten, and then we really don't know because is Gundy's team laying down?
Right.
Do they no longer believe in Alan Bowman? Are they just not able to defend the run, or what is the issue really? Like, is it West Virginia is good, or is it Oklahoma State is bad? Mm-hmm. That's the question. And this is one of the worst teams that Gundy has had in the Big 12 at Oklahoma State. I don't think we learn a lot. I think it's going to be a while. Now, we beat Iowa State. Iowa State returns more players. They returned more players this year than anybody else in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And they've got Rocco Becht, who can play at quarterback.
Right.
Who's son of Anthony Becht. Some of you guys might remember Anthony Becht, the now Hall of Famer at WVU. Mm-hmm. So that will tell us more. That will tell us a lot more. Kansas State, that's going to be a tough test. Avery Johnson, that guy is playing really well. He's playing really good football. But Oklahoma State, I don't think we learn a lot because I don't think Oklahoma State's very good. If we lose, that's scary.
Right.
That's scary.
I would be a little bit scared too. I think that sounds the alarms off in my head, probably your head, and a lot of Mountaineers fans here in the Mid-Ohio Valley because, like you said, Oklahoma State, maybe not as good as they have been in past years, but they've got probably the toughest stretch of their schedule coming up after this game, and it could look quickly 2-6 if they don't win this upcoming game on Saturday on the road. But Brandon, I do want to ask you too, for anyone that wants to listen to you and your brother do your favorite thing, which is podcast, talk about these same Mountaineers, whether it's on the gridiron, the basketball court, even the baseball diamond, anything else you can catch them. How can people listen to you guys?
You can listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are on everything. Spotify and Apple Podcasts are the main places that you can find us. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on everything that you look for to listen to podcasts. You can find us. We also sometimes do YouTube videos. You can find us on YouTube, Raspy Voice Kids. At all those different sites, you can find us, RVK Raspy Voice Kids, as you can see in the background. And we put our stuff. We promote it on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find us all day, every day.
Absolutely. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for sitting down with me. And let's go Mountaineers this week. We need a big game. We need a victory.
Let's go.
Mid-Ohio Valley, when we return, Kirk Greenfield will have one last look at your forecast. Stay with us.